Hi guys, welcome to Three Guys in a Ball. And where's Tim? Jake, what you do with Tim? What happened to Tim?
He's in this ball right here.
Oh, is that what happened?
9.5-inch regulation.
He got abducted by aliens and got thrown into a black hole. See, you got a basketball. This is all I could find. Does this count as a ball?
No, that looks like an art project.
It is. It does, huh? Where's Vaughn when you need her with the whole creativity stuff? But anyways,
work smart.
So guys, welcome. So it's our ball today is Michael Gier. He is the founder, the director and the producer of the Wounded Heroes documentary that has come against wide acclaim and praise across everywhere, all across the country. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. And can you give us a little bit more about yourself and just talk a little bit more about what you do and what you're doing for the veteran community as a whole?
Yeah, thanks for having me. And it's Three Guys in a Ball, right? So I am your third guy. So here we are. We're doing the name of the show with Three Guys, and we're going to talk and have a good time. So my film is Wounded Heroes. It's a documentary that's on different platforms: Amazon, iTunes, Google Play. It's all over the place. But I produced the film, one, to show people who are battling post-traumatic stress that they can get their lives back. I met a guy in San Diego named Carl. He was on 16 medications down from 18, which was shocking to me. He could be on so many medications in his 20s. And he said it wasn't really helping. It was just more of a Band-Aid and pushing back the symptoms. And so I decided after that interview and meeting Carl that I needed to find real solutions that would do more than just be a Band-Aid, give people their lives back. So that set me off on a 3-year journey, and I kind of bounced all over the country interviewing people, and we found amazing alternative treatments that do get people not only off the drugs but their lives back. And so that's what Wounded Heroes is all about.
Awesome. Can you give us some examples of just some of the treatments that you found that are extremely helpful? And is it going to, more importantly, is it going to cost an arm and a leg for the veteran to seek help?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, some of the treatments, horse therapy is always one that I think that many people know about, but in the film, we kind of feature a segment, 15 minutes or so, of Saddles and Service in San Diego, where you meet veterans and first responders, and you see this amazing connection between them and the horse and them. And so it's really cool. That's Saddles and Service. We also do something called ART, Accelerated Resolution Therapy, and RTM, which is reconsolidation of traumatic memories. Both of them are very similar. They're a neurological intervention. You don't even have to talk about the traumatic event, and yet neurologically, they're able to separate the emotion from the memory. So you can still remember the memory, but you have no more emotion connected to it, which makes it just a normal memory. And it's pretty amazing to see on camera when you hear veterans who were suicidal, who had given up because they've tried everything, that none of it worked. And then they finally found something like RTM, and they get their lives back, and they're living a happy, fulfilling life. They're sleeping through the night. They have no more symptoms of post-traumatic stress. We also have a couple of programs that we feature in the film, week-long programs, which it's important that we don't fight a battle alone. When you go to war, you fight with people around you. You take out the enemy as a team. And if you need backup or you need support, you call for support. It's no different back at home in the battle of post-traumatic stress. So having these week-long programs where you get a new tribe, new buddies around you, people who have your back, people who understand you, know what you're going through, that was really impactful for us to see, and then for them to get to meet and have people around them that kind of get them and can help them through the recovery. We did something called stellate ganglion block. It's a shot in the neck. We talk about that. We asked a lot of questions from the doctors, talked to the patients. We saw before and after. Just a lot of powerful different treatments and programs that were featured in the film. So as far as cost, they all vary. A lot of them are absolutely no cost, free. TRP, which is something new that we're featuring in my upcoming film called Healing the Heroes of 9/11. It's being released on September 11th. It's the TRP, Trauma Resiliency Protocol, and it's very similar to RTM and ART in Wounded Heroes. It's a neurological intervention. That's done by 220.org, an amazing nonprofit. They do it absolutely for free at no cost for veterans, first responders, and their families. So there are treatments that will literally give people their lives back, and it will cost them nothing.
You know what? Thank you so much for sharing that, Michael. And here's kind of the interesting that we're kind of bringing this up, and this is kind of like, again, this is a special episode that kind of veers a little bit away from what we normally do on this program. But with the events that have been unfolding in Afghanistan, especially for Marines such as Jake, I'm more than certain that it has ravaged a few cages. I know families will never be the same, especially those 13 service members that lost their lives in the bombing in the Kabul airport. How would you explain to the families that feel completely lost, that feel like their country has abandoned them, that feel like they have been let down, and for all of those families that would say that, you know what, I don't know if I can get away from this, or I don't know how I can, how I'm going to have nightmares for the rest of my life. And I'm not just talking about the Marines or the soldiers that lost a friend. I'm talking about more of the family members that heard about that loss afterwards. How would you feel like watching this documentary and seeing the options out there, and watching the upcoming documentary for the heroes of 9/11? How would this help them?
Well, I'm a civilian, first of all, and I can't even imagine what people who were there and gave everything for this country to then 20 years later see this all Afghanistan handed back to the Taliban. I mean, as a civilian, I'm furious at what's taken place. I'm really upset about how it took place. I think a lot of us wanted the war to end. We wanted to bring our soldiers home, but the way it was done, and the fact that the Taliban is now there and in control and their flags waving, and we left all that equipment behind, that pisses me off as a civilian. So I can't even imagine, and I won't even try to say I understand how somebody who was there feels. I do know the veteran VA's hotline, suicide hotline, has skyrocketed. All the nonprofits I've talked to, they're getting calls left and right and contact from people because they're feeling very, very suicidal. They're not only upset and they're not only having bad dreams, they're just going, you know what, I'm just done. And that's really scary. It's a scary time. And so Wounded Heroes, it features programs and treatments that are literally going to help people get their lives back, regardless of what they're feeling. And I can't understand it personally because I've never experienced what they're feeling. All I do know is that people who have experienced what they're feeling have their lives back. They're not having the nightmares, the anger. They don't have to drink themselves to sleep at night or get high on some whatever drugs to get to sleep at night. That's all gone. That's all out of their lives because they found something that actually healed them from post-traumatic stress. And I did say the word heal, and you'll see it in the film Wounded Heroes, and you'll see it in the upcoming film Healing the Heroes of 9/11. I interviewed these folks from 9/11, a lot of different people, firefighter, police, chaplain, EMT, a number of different people at the Pentagon and Ground Zero. For 20 years now, they've been battling post-traumatic stress, and they all talk about their symptoms and what they've battled over 20 years. Then we put them through TRP on camera, and then we interviewed them afterwards, and you're going to see a night and day transformation. So if you can be a first responder from 9/11 and experience what they experienced 20 years ago, and then afterwards, because of a simple treatment like TRP, they can get their lives back and have a dramatic change in their lives, then that's going to show that pretty much anybody can get help with their post-traumatic stress as well. And that's kind of the point of the film and why 220, this is their film. They asked me to direct it and produce it for them, which I agreed to do because I love their mission. They're amazing people. They've got amazing hearts, and they just want to heal people who are battling post-traumatic stress. And so their film is available on the 11th at their website, 220.org. And it's being given away absolutely for free. And as I said, they do TRP for veterans, first responders, and their families at no cost.
That's awesome. That's amazing. And
So
now, Jake, you had
Michael,
a few questions. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So Michael, I talked to Nick Davis last week for the first time, and he shared some extreme detail of their mission and their approach and strategy towards therapy. So obviously, way more than Paul and I would, and way more than I would from just a 30-minute conversation with Nick. But could you share a little bit about backtrack how that whole thing started with 22-0 and how they came to you? Because that story right there, like the trigger of the timeline for it, was pretty crazy how little bit you had to do in that huge specific mission that they wanted to make.
So the little bit of what?
So could you share about how they came to you and said, hey, can you do this with this short amount of time?
Oh, short amount of time. I'm got you. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. So that's 2 months ago, Dan calls me. So Dan was in Wounded Heroes, this last film, and he was featured in the film because Dan at one time was suicidal himself. He was an absolute mess. And Nick talks about it in the upcoming film. When he first met Dan, he said he sat in the corner, he had his head hanging. And Dan said, I was thinking, why am I even here? I don't feel worthy. I shouldn't even be here. So Dan was just in a really, really bad place. And then he found something that changed his life. So he's been on a mission with this nonprofit to do the same for others who are suicidal and battling post-traumatic stress. So Dan came up with this brilliant idea 2 months ago, with meaning zero time, and said, Michael, I have an idea. Healing the Heroes of 9/11. And I said, Dan, that's an amazing title. He said, great. Can we get it done in 2 months? I'm like, what? No. Are you kidding me? 2 months. People don't realize what goes into making a film. Wounded Heroes, this film behind me, 3 years. Most films take a long time. And so him 2 months ago, because I asked Dan last night, I said, when did you first ask me? It was in 2 months ago, literally. And I'm still in shock that we got this film done, because we filmed in New York, Florida. One of our first responders was in Japan, so we filmed him there. And then getting all the filming done, figuring out what had to go into the film, all of the content, what we needed from all of the interviews to put it all together, and then going into post-production. Post-production is a huge beast on its own, because you've got to color the footage, you've got to do the audio after you've taken hours and hours and hours of interviews. And we turned this into a 60-minute film, but I don't even know, 15 hours or more of interviews. And you have to block that down into an hour somehow. And then, all these different pieces from all these different interviews, put it together, piece at a time. And then before you know it, you've got a film. But then after you have the film, that's when you get into the post with the audio and the coloring and the B-roll. And so my point is to do all of that in 2 months, when we had nothing 2 months ago when we first talked about it, except Dan saying, I want to do a film. I'm still in shock that we got it done. And it was finished officially last night, so it's done. And I don't know how he did it.
Wow.
It's an amazing film. Let me tell you, you guys are going to love this film. It's so impactful.
Yeah, we're definitely going to check it out. Thank you so much. And Jake, I know you're definitely going to watch, because I know you were, I know Michael Gier was promoting it a little while ago. And I know me and you were talking about it even before this episode. So.
So I have a huge fundraiser that I'm been planning for months and months and months, that we're having it on Friday. It's actually a 2-day event. It's with I'm an ambassador with an organization called Reunite the Fight. And our whole mission is to bring veterans together with community members, civilian or veteran themselves, to gather and just try to support each other now back home. Similar to how Michael mentioned how we fight on the battlefield, shoulder to shoulder. That's also how we get where we need to go and continue to grow through life back home, is shoulder to shoulder with our community members and our family and friends. So we have this big event on Friday, November 10th, and one of the interviewees and your new upcoming film, Johnny Walker, will be there. He's one of our guests. He's one of our big sponsors for our tournament, and we're actually going to have him share a brief moment about his experience, because it's this reunion / gathering we're doing this weekend is because of the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And so he'll share a little bit about being there in New York City on 9/11, and also his experience afterwards, and his post-traumatic growth now towards healing from that experience. And I'm excited to finally get to meet him in person. Virtually I've been connected with him for a while now, but it's just interesting that we're filming this and recording on accident. Paul had this scheduled the same week that your film's coming out, and we're having a huge event with someone who's in your film. So it's like a perfect storm coming together for greatness.
It's kind of, you're right. And it's crazy because Michael, I remember when I first approached you and you said, yes, your documentary for 9/11 wasn't even in the works yet. I think we set this up, what, three and a half months ago, I think, right? It was about
that. I think you're right. Yeah. You're right. Because this other film wasn't even on the horizon.
It's crazy.
You know what? Everything happens for a reason.
So Michael, so while we have you, because I know your family is probably like, we need you back home. We need you here. You've been so busy. So real quick, give us a little bit of what's coming next for you. And if you're not sure yet, what do you have planned? What are you excited to try to do next for your next project?
Well, you know, I love doing projects that change lives. I mean, I've got a full production company, so we do everything from TV commercials to corporate videos for companies, you know, you name it, training videos, we produce it. So I do that. That's my bread and butter. And then on the side, I also produce these documentaries and also films just in general, whether it's a short film or a feature film with actors, union actors. So I had a film called Wounded Heroes that was originally written with actors and a screenplay, and we were going to produce that. And it had a storyline of post-traumatic stress. That's why I met Carl. And after meeting Carl, I decided to do the documentary first. So I still have that screenplay. And so we're actually raising money now in hopes of producing it as a feature film with actors. That is happening as far as trying to raise the money. That's always the hardest part. But I have some people working on that. And then aside from that, I've got some other documentaries we may be doing as well that we're talking to people about doing. It's always about funding. So I love working with nonprofits. If they've got the funds and they've got a project they want to do, you know, I'm happy to produce and direct it for them. Like 220, they were able to fund this entire project and still give it away for free because they had people who believe in what they're doing and in this film. So they donated enough money to the nonprofit to allow this film to get made, which allowed 220 to give it away. But, you know, I'm hoping for other nonprofits who have great ideas and great things. And I've got a couple that I'm talking to in hopes that something will work out.
That sounds amazing. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Thank you very much for joining us with this episode. Michael Gier, thank you so much for joining us and spending time with us and agreeing to kind of meet with, you know, Jakey Boy and myself and Tim that's stuck in a black hole somewhere. Tim, don't remember, man. We remember where you're at. We're going to grab you out of that black hole. Don't worry. He's right there in that little tiny hole. And that being said, we are 3 guys in the ball and we are out.